Having spoken, the doomsayer departs.
Why don't you get Billy dressed? I'll take him to town with me. At the store before it gets all bought out.
How'd you folks hold up in the store?
Big insurance day.
Sorry to hear that.
What's going on?
It's death.
Something in the mist! Shut the doors! Shut the doors!
The only way we're going to help ourselves is to seek rescue.
Tie this around your waist.
Before.
Well, let us know you got at least 300 feet.
There's nothing up there. Nothing in the mist.
What if you're wrong?
I guess. The top would fall there.
It is time to take sides. Read the good book. It calls for blood.
Guys, I hear something.
That's cogs.
Not like any I've ever seen. The entire front of this store is plate glass.
What are you guys messing with up there?
I thought there were other dimensions. They wanted to try and make a window.
Well, maybe your window turned out to be a door.
Who she's gonna sacrifice to make it all better?
We want the boy.
That's right.
Well, good morning, class. Monster fans, I hope you all did your homework and watched this movie yesterday. We are at day 16 for the 31 Days of Monster. Can you believe we're across that halfway mark? Boy, time flies when you're having fun. Today we're talking about the Frank Darabont 2007 adaptation of Stephen King's novella, The Mist. This is a great movie. It's a great book, too, or great novella. I remember reading years ago, and that when I saw this film, I thought they did a really great job on it. I hope you did your homework and saw it, because we're going to be talking about the ending here, because you can't talk about this movie and not talk about the ending. There's a great cast. Where is my... I like Thomas Jane a lot. I've liked him in everything I've ever seen him in. This guy is really good. He, of course, is the star. And then you have almost the entire cast of the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead here. Laurie Holden, Jeffrey DeMunn. Who else? I know there's other people in here Melissa McBride. So Frank Darabont, who wrote this and directed it, had done Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile too, for Stephen King, or adaptation of Stephen King. And he went on to produce the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead, and a lot of these actors are in this prior to that show starting. So it's interesting to see them all together here. Darabont wanted Thomas Jane for the role of Rick Grimes, but he was doing a movie or something at that time and couldn't do it. But that would have been really cool to see him as Rick, because I really like him a lot. First time I ever saw him was in '61, where he played a dead-on Mickey Mantle in Billy Crystal's baseball film about Roger Maris and Mantle going for the single-season home run record. Great movie too, by the way. Not Halloween-y, but it's baseball. The fall classic is starting soon. Thomas Jane, of course, went on to play the Punisher, and he was going to. He had a problem with the producers on that, and so he chose not to return But there's a sequence when they go to the drugstore here, and he's going to grab a comic book for his son, which he promised he would do. There's a Punisher comic there. I think it's Punisher War Journal. And he reaches for it, and then he doesn't choose it. He chooses a Hellboy copy to give to his son. And I think that was his little FU to the Punisher folks. There's another comic tie-in here. Let's see, where are we? In that this creature and some of the other creatures here were designed by the great Bernie Wrightson, which I did not know that he did design work on this film. But I read that this morning, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Of course it's Bernie Wrightson. It looks amazing. His designs are so great. So this movie differs from the ending of the book slightly, in that in the Stephen King novella. Let's get this over. In the novella, it's more of a open-ended ending, somewhat more hopeful, is the way I read it, where the folks that had driven away from the store are in the car and they're driving off into the mist, hoping to get out. In the book, the David Drayton character has thoughts about killing everybody, thinking if things got bad, this is what he would do. And he has, there's 4 people in the car in the book, and he has 3 bullets. So it's that same type of dilemma. But Frank Darabont, for 20 years had wanted to do this story, and he wanted that ending. And he went with Dimension Films because they told him that he could do it with the ending he wanted, because that was non-negotiable. He had to give up a lot of money. One of the other studios wanted him for it, and I think they offered him $30 million to do the film, but they didn't want his ending, and he said no. So he went to Bob Weinstein and cut a deal with him, and he had to give up like his directorial points or whatever they were, but they promised him they wouldn't change the ending on it. And that ending is absolutely heartbreaking, because he does do what he thought about in the book. And just after he does it, you see the military coming in, and there's the deuce and a halves with people being rescued, and there's Apache helicopters flying over and flamethrowers, and they're torching creatures and stuff like that. And Thomas Jane gets down on his knees, and he just gives this awful wail. It's heartbreaking, the way that movie ends. But this is really a great film. It's very claustrophobic. The basic plot of it is that the military, Project Arrowhead, were playing around with interdimensional gateways. And rather than a window into a new dimension, they opened up a door, and then it allowed these creatures to come through. Originally, they were going to do a prologue and show the doors opening, the dimensional doors opening. And I'm glad they didn't. I like it better that we don't have to know everything. We just get the hearsay from the military guys about what went on. We don't need to see it. It's enough that the door got open and we see the creatures in it. And Stephen King got the idea for the story when he was in a grocery store in Maine that was all plate glass, and he wondered to himself, what if giant bugs were, banging up against those windows? And that was the start of it, That's the same type of way I came up with the idea for the Chenoo. I was driving by Lake Erie, and a storm was out over the lake, and I wondered, what if that storm brought something with it, a creature? And it's funny how creative ideas start. They begin with what if. So it's a good movie. I like it a lot. It deals with real monsters and the monsters that are within us. It's very claustrophobic because most of it takes place in a grocery store, and you can see how people change, and mob mentality happens, and sometimes the worst in front of us is really within us. So they explore those ideas too. So I guess that's about it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you watched it. I always say read the book because the books are always better. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about the John McTiernan classic Predator, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's a good one. That's a really good one. Arnold sort of got his acting chops going in that film, and it's got a great creature in it too. So tomorrow will be that, and let's say good morning to everybody. See if our usual cast of characters here. Pop Culture Avenger, Devil Flyer, good morning. Monster Fan. He says, good morning, Graham. In chat, this is a very Lovecraftian movie, so I like it. It is very Lovecraftian. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Man of War 665, hail amigos. North Free says, hail Graham in the mighty chat. Monster Fan says, good morning. Ravens Saber is here. Pop Culture Avenger wishes he got a better look at the giant monster towards the end of the movie. I kind of like it slightly obscured by the mist, and what we are left with is the sense of size and scale and the sound of it walking. I mean, the thing is just so gigantic. I remember when I first saw that, I was like, holy shit. Devil Flyer is here. I don't know if I mentioned you yet. Devil Flyer would rather read Alien Alamo. Well, I agree. It's obviously a much better story. Certainly more hopeful. Delaware Comic Dude is here. He says, hail, Graham Nolan. Hail, Delaware Comic Dude. Fichita says, I think I pronounced that right. Fichita. This needs to be watched in black and white. Darabont wanted this to be done in black and white on the, I think on the Blu-ray or the, I don't know if they were doing laser discs when this came out or not. But yeah, he did want a black and white version. It'd be interesting to see. I like it in color. Oh, as he says, as the director intended. Yeah. Fearless Freep is here. Hi, Graham. Howdy, group. Hello. This movie was junk writing. Watched yesterday for first time. Well, we will agree to disagree, Devil Flyer. I like the movie. Normie Nerd is here. Good morning. Well, the book is always better, I think. Except for Frankenstein. Oh, Steve Lowenthal stuck back on Facebook. How come? You were a bad boy? Did you get kicked off of YouTube? I agree, Man of War 665, that The Walking Dead did go off the rails when Frank Darabont left. Definitely fatalistic. This movie has a made-for-TV feel production, but it works for the atmosphere. It's interesting you say that because the film crew was the film crew that filmed the TV show The Shield. They used a television film crew because they were used to working fast and setting up scenes quickly for episodic TV. And they had a tight deadline to produce this film. So it's interesting that you could see through the veneer and that made-for-TV feel. I didn't get that from the way it's shot, but some of the digital effects, particularly, tentacles and stuff like that, sort of had a little low-end feel to them. Or at least, not A-list. But it's still better than TV. Prater 7 is here. Good morning, chat, he says. Pop Culture Avenger says that Thomas Jane was good in Mutant Chronicles and Dreamcatcher. I didn't see Mutant Chronicles, but yeah, he was in another Stephen King film, Dreamcatcher. He was good in that. Prater 7 loved this movie. Devil Flyer says Gunsmoke actor. Who are we referring to? Gunsmoke actor. But speaking of Gunsmoke actors, Julie and I watched The Thing from Another World last night. My favorite. But I did that one last year, so I'm not doing it as a show this year. But I watch it every year, sometimes twice a year. I like to watch it at Halloween. I like to watch it in the winter, too, when the snow is falling. This is the first time I saw a movie with such a crazy twist to the end. Everybody has copied it since. Shocking. Yeah, Stephen King even remarked that this movie scared him, and that he wishes he wrote the ending that way. He sort of telegraphed it, but he didn't carry it out to its conclusion the way that Darabont did. And it's one of those, kick yourself in the ass type things, like, why didn't I think of that, Well, Devil Flyer is just not a fan. It was a long, hard watch for me for many reasons. Sorry, Graham. Hey, we all have our stuff. What is in the mist, Peter? Well, you got to watch the movie. Well, maybe you did. Huge animals from another dimension. Big bugs. Ronald Sipple says, great story. I read it long before in the early 90s. Prater 7 says, as a nerd, I would love to see the door being opened. At least now that I've seen the movie, I'm glad that that wasn't in the movie. Yeah. Sometimes it's best left to your imagination. It's irrelevant that we see it open. It's enough to know it was open and we see the effects of the opening. I think that's more powerful. I was reading the trivia for this a few days ago. I think it said there was a scene planned at the end that showed people from the store being saved and Jane's character seeing them at the very end. Yeah, they were going to show people from the store driving on those deuce and a halves go by him, like you see McBride's character, the woman who had to leave to save her kids. We see that not only was she saved, but her kids were saved as well. And then they wanted to show the people from the store so that David's character would then be thinking to himself, holy crap, we'd have been better off if we stayed in the store. But they had to nix that idea because the other cast members had already left. You know, they had filmed their scenes and they were gone, and it would have been too much to call them back to film that ending. Alex Saviak is here. Good morning, Alex. The giant mist creature at the end was truly epic before the word got old. It was like a Jurassic Park reveal. Yeah, it was like, each time you saw one of these bugs or creatures, dimensional creatures, they were bigger than the last one. You know, they start off small, but large bugs. And then there's the one that's outside the store that takes the body, and he's big. You know, he's like as big as a garage. And then we see the one that walks over the car, which is clearly bigger than, a building. I saw the movie without any spoilers ahead of time, and that reveal was awesome. Howdy, Orlando. Welcome, welcome. The question of our time, is Stephen King overrated? I say yes. Have not read the books. Well, it's kind of hard to say that if you haven't read the books. I've read some of them. Some of them I really like, and some of them I think are crap. He got really political by the 80s. You know, he lost his mind when Reagan won or something, and he was constantly bashing Reagan and Republicans. So, when he gets to that kind of shit, that bugs me. Talking about the proposed scene of the people from the grocery store getting saved, it would have added the regret that Jane's character would have felt for killing the others. It would have been one more pile on, maybe too much, if you think about it. It's bad enough for him to have killed everybody and then realize that the world wasn't coming to an end, that we were fighting back and we were taking control again, and people were coming out alive, and the world would spin on. I think it would have just been overkill if they had done that. Comic books in cahoots, Graham Nolan, and coffee equals not a bad breakfast. Throw some bacon in there, brother, and you got a really good breakfast. Delaware comic dude, Jaws movie is better than book. So another example of a movie over a book. Yeah, that's true. That is true. There's a lot of story elements in Jaws that we've removed, like the cop's wife having an affair with the Richard Dreyfuss character in the book. Just shit that got in the way of what the story was really supposed to be about. North Free says also The Godfather. I never read the book, The Godfather, so I couldn't comment on it. Steve says, can't get the chat to work on YouTube using my phone. Been watching you during the week, but could not speak up. Wonder why that is. Anthony Gonzalez Clark, good morning, sir. Orlando says the ending of this movie really hits the feels, man. Jane's scream at the end is so believable, the anguish on his face. Yeah. Watch his left arm, too. You know, he doesn't know what to do with it, you know. I mean, the actor does. The actor's doing something specific, and it feels very authentic, the body language that he gives off. Devil Flyer can't give it up. He friggin' hates this movie. I got it. You don't like it. I hope you like Predator, because that's what we're doing tomorrow. Ronald Sipple must be a King fan. To really understand the matrix of Stephen King, The Dark Tower and 8-volume cycle is a must. Rick Saylor loved this movie. It did a great job on how people react to terrifying situation. Well, you get people scared and you can get them to do anything. That was one of the communist mantras. You scare people enough, you can get them to do anything. Normie Nerd is catching up, but he thought this was a made-for-TV movie. Yes, don't forget to smash that like button. Every day, hit that like button. The question is, what is the overall message? The message is fatalistic. There's no two ways about it. I think that's how Stephen King sees the world. It's not the way I see the world. But the message here is that, when people are scared, there's two types of people, people that will band together for the benefit of everybody, or people that will run off the rails and do whatever, listen to whatever will give them comfort. And sometimes things just don't work out. It's not a great message, but I think that's basically what this movie is about. And as I mentioned before, that, he brings interdimensional monsters into the story, but we find in the grocery store the monsters are really within us. What we will do and when scared, and how easily we can be led astray. Hans Rogers says, here's a film tip for you. Giants of Metropolis, 1961, like a pre-Frazetta Miller. It's a forgotten gem. Not good, but it has something. Art direction is nice. I'm going to look it up. Giants of Metropolis. Never heard of it. Fawad Siddiqui says Predator McTiernan, the best. Dylan, you son of a bitch. Crazy Religious Lady was also in Silent Hill. Marcia Gay Harden, good actress. She's been around for a long time. This film must be on the curriculum at the Moscow School of Communism. Well, look at the source material. The Mist, not to be confused with The Fog. Yeah, The Fog's a much better movie, but I did The Fog last year. That's one of my favorite John Carpenter films. It has characters that I actually like. Halloween's another one. But The Fog is a great one. It's just a great ghost story. And who doesn't like a good ghost story? Frank Castle, 1973. As far as the left arm thing is, Jane ungripping and gripping the revolver. No, he's already dropped the gun by then. It's just his hand is kind of shaking and bouncing and flopping, you know. We saw The Fog, we saw The Mist. Now it's the Frog time. And then hell comes to Frogtown. Okay, I think that's all the comments here. So we got a mixed bag. Yeah, it seems like some of you guys didn't like this film and some of you did. But be that as it may, tomorrow is John McTiernan's Predator. And I think most people are going to like that one. It's a good one. So anyway, my friends, we will see you tomorrow at probably around 8 o'clock. Sometime between 8 and 9. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and that you hit the notification button that looks like a bell. That way you'll get notified when I figure out the exact time. So thanks again for tuning in to 31 Days of Monster. We'll see you for day 17 tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.